The popularity of MCPs and AI agents is absolutely exploding. It's clear that 2026 is going to be the year of AI agents actually doing things. But just like the internet and Bitcoin, most people are going to miss out on connecting their AI to real-world applications. My name is Ben with God of Prompt, and today I'm going to teach you how to build an AI command center that lets Claude control all of the agents in your cloud even if you've never written a line of code. By the end of this video, you'll have an insane system that lets Claude orchestrate multiple AI agents to detect trends, draft content, and even create campaign briefs for marketing campaigns, all from one MCP endpoint. And with that said, let's jump into the video. Hi, this is Ben with God of Prompt. So this is what's happening right now. Anthropic released the MCP, the Model Context Protocol, which lets AI applications talk directly to internal tools. So before you needed to use an API, and there were different API calls for every request that you send. Well, now we basically made it really easy for AI agents to understand how to talk to these different tools instead of using APIs, using MCP, which is a lot easier. Since N8N has native MCP support here, you can see the server trigger. It basically means Claude can now trigger any workflow that you create in N8N. Starting with the simple trigger, just using the MCP into directly using some tools, then a simple agent, and then I'm going to show you guys the super complicated setup here where really the sky's the limit. An MCP is routing requests to different AI agents depending on the task. If you find this kind of stuff valuable, be sure to like and subscribe because we drop AI content on this channel every week. And if you want to skip the setup and just copy and paste this template and get it up and running in N8N as quickly as possible, as well as some other templates we have for marketers and business owners, be sure to check out our complete AI bundle. So first off, what the heck is an MCP? It's the middleman in between your AI tool that you're chatting with and our N8N tools and workflows in this case. Think of the MCP as giving Claude a list or a menu of its powers, and Claude picks whatever one it wants to use, and that triggers the corresponding N8N flow. So while MCPs and AI agents are really popular right now, they're not going to do anything for you unless you connect them to tools and make them take actions in the real world. And that is the problem we're going to solve today. So the cost of N8N is about $24 a month for the cloud version. Claude Desktop here is free to use with your Anthropic account. And again, you can do this all with zero coding experience. I'm going to show you every click along the way. And we're going to build this in 3 phases. Phase 1 is the direct MCP server trigger to the individual tools. Phase 2, we're using a simple agent and we're calling a separate workflow here that instead of using these tools directly, it actually uses an AI agent to call the same 2 tools. Then our third phase, where we're calling 3 different workflows, each with its own flow and agent inside of it. So in that way, you basically have an army of agents that Claude is dynamically routing each of your requests to. So the same entry point, each iteration would just get more and more powerful. So let's build this thing. So after you log into N8N, create an account, you might be able to start with a free account. But after you're in your workspace, create a new workflow. And phase 1 is building the MCP with direct tools. This is the foundation that everything else builds upon. So we're going to add the MCP server trigger node. So this node creates the endpoint that Claude can talk to. Here's the key thing to understand is that it can only execute these tool nodes. It cannot continue like a normal N8N flow. So when you double click this bad boy, we have 3 sections: the inputs of the step, the configuration or settings for this step itself, and the outputs. Basically, all we need to do here is set this to the production URL. Everything else we can leave the same. And this URL is what we'll put into Claude's config file later. But for now, we have to give it some tools. Let's start with 2 simple ones. First, add a HTTP request. For these tools, the names need to be in lowercase and no spaces. Then you're going to copy my configuration. So here I have the description. This is how Claude knows, or the MCP, or this is what the MCP exposes to Claude so that Claude knows which tool to pick. So Claude will look at this description, gets current weather for any city, requires a city parameter. And it'll, N8N will fill in the blank of that city depending on what we pass in. Make sure you copy this whole link here. This is a free API to use. Second tool is going to be a calculator. And there's nothing to configure here. It just makes it easier for the models to do math. So now it should, now we have an MCP server that has 2 tools available for our AI to choose. And now is the fun part. We're going to connect Claude Desktop to our MCP server so we can trigger these tools from our own Claude account. Okay, first you need to download Claude Desktop. Then you have to edit Claude's configuration file, which is located in, for me it's C users, my name, app data, roaming, Claude. Yours will be in a similarly named C users, your name, app data, Claude folder. And you're looking for this file, Claude Desktop config, a JSON file. If you don't have it, you'll need to make one. So in your IDE or text editor of choice, you want to open the folder of this exact folder here. So you look for Claude, open that bad boy. Then if you don't have this Claude Desktop config, you can create a new file, name it that exact thing, and then populate it with what I'm going to share here. So this is the data we need in the config JSON file. This URL here is going to be from our production URL in N8N. So go ahead and replace this part with your URL. Then you got to create your own auth key to put the token in this part. So to do that, you go to N8N, you create you go to the credentials section, you create a new credential, and let's make this a bearer auth. And you can make it whatever you want. It's basically like your password. So I made mine this, right? I'm just gonna copy this and put it into my bearer token here and name that something like this. I'm naming mine delete later because I'm gonna delete it. Remember, it's like a password. And remember to put that same token in your code here. Hit save. Remember to publish your workflow and to completely restart Claude Desktop. So close it out and exit in your system tray, then reopen it. So let's check if this thing is linked. If we go to our settings in Claude Desktop, we see indeed we're connected to our N8N instance. This is our local MCP server. So let's try it. We're gonna call this N8N flow with this instance of Claude Desktop. So let's say something like find the weather, then use the calculator right after. So we're gonna see if it can call both tools. So here it shows this little N icon when it's looking to use that tool from N8N. And then it says, do we want to allow it to use this external tool? So we're gonna say always allow for at least this conversation. And then it's gonna, after it uses that tool, it's gonna ask us for the other tool. There we go, it's using the calculator tool as well. And it probably could have done that simple calculation, but there we go, you can see it's called our N8N instance here. The calculator returned -16. So boom, there you have it, right? Claude calls whatever tools it needs, gets the information. There's a couple problems. One is that Claude Desktop is doing all of the thinking. The N8N side is just kind of dumbly executing whatever it's asking for. Or what if we're using too many tools for Claude to call them all one by one? We want to bundle them together. That's why we're going to move on to phase 2, which is using a simple agent to do that task instead. So to do that, first we're going to create a new workflow. Okay, we cannot just simply connect this to an agent. We can, but with the MCP here, it doesn't pass along the data correctly. So what we instead need to do is create a new workflow. We have to find the trigger that when it's executed by another workflow, let's hit accept all data here. Name it something you'll recognize. I named mine Simple Agent. And if we go back from our Simple Agent to our main flow here, we can add a tool, which is to call the N8N workflow that we just made, and we can select it from the list like so. Put a little description in here that tells the AI when to call this. And let's build out this flow. So it's going to be the same two functionalities, just from an AI agent node. And again, this is the best practice way to do it. We're going to define the prompt. We need to make this user message here $JSON.query in these curly brackets. Let's just take the HTTP request and calculator tools from our MCP trigger, paste them in our simple agent flow, connect them like that. And now our AI agent is going to be doing some of its own thinking, so we need to give it a brain or a chat model. So you can see the red indicates it's mandatory. So we're going to use an anthropic chat model in this case. You will see a red indicator by connecting the credentials, so I'll show you how to do that here. Hit the edit key. You'll create a new credential, and it's asking for an API key. And it's asking for an API key. The way you get your API key is you come here to platform.claude.com/settings/keys. You have to set up your billing information, maybe add some, like I added $5 to my account. Then you create a key, you name it something, then you click add, copy that key, bring it back to your Anthropic account, right? I'm gonna name mine delete later because again, your API key is sensitive, treat it like a password. So once you get the green that it's good to go, we can select model. It might be a different model by the time you're watching, but a good middle of the ground, cheap but also intelligent model, Claude Sonnet 4.5. Now that that's done, be sure to publish this flow. Remember, before we test this, we always have to hit publish here, not just save, but publish in our main flow. Make sure, you publish any branches. And I also closed out of Claude Desktop fully again on the task trade down here, and then opened it up again. And now if we tell it to use our agent, do the same thing but use the simple agent, and then it'll send that entire query to the agent, and it'll just let the agent figure it out. No longer will Claude Desktop have to do that processing. See, it's called our step-by-step simple agent, and here's the input and there's the output. So Claude Desktop actually didn't do any of that thinking. Then, as you can see, it's called that agent, used our chat model, went down, got the weather, used the calculator, and returned that all to Claude Desktop for us. Bam, right there. And you can see it called that agent. But hold your horses, because now we're on to phase 3, and that's where things get really powerful. Now we're going to add 3 specialized AI agents to our flow, each one being an expert in a specific task. Same MCP trigger, same flow. We're just adding more of these calling N8N workflow tools. So we've have in this example a trend detector, a content drafter, and a campaign brief creator. So these are real deliverables that, someone like a marketing director would be interested in. So the first sub workflow we're going to create is going to be for our trend detector. And let's make this workflow now. Back in your workspace, create a new workflow in N8N. Now we've already done a lot of this in our first simple agent step. So I'm just going to copy all this to our new flow. It'll indeed accept all data that we're passing from Claude Desktop. We'll have the same AI model as the brain, and this time we're going to use different tools. And remember to name it something so we can select it later. So instead of these 2 tools, let's give it 2 completely new ones. The first one is going to be an RSS read tool. So to try to find some of the trends, we're going to have it read from an RSS feed. Name that RSS feed something indicative of what it is. The description, we have this, and our URL, we have this, which you can copy as well. It's a free RSS feed. The other tool we're going to add is going to be a Perplexity web search. So search for Perplexity here. So we'll need to connect it to our Perplexity account. You'll create a new credential. It's again asking for the API key. To get your Perplexity API key, it's very similar to Claude. You go to perplexity.ai/account/API/keys, enter your billing info, you probably gotta add some credits, then generate API key. Name it something, and create it. Then you can copy that API key, bring it back into your n8n flow and hit save. Once you've seen the green check mark, you know you're good. And there we go, that green box means you're good. Copy the configuration for this setup as well. So we're gonna set manually the description, teaching the AI, when to use this tool. Always use this tool first when asked to find trends. And in this user message spot, we're gonna paste this text here, which you can copy. We're saying to search the web for the most relevant trends on this topic, and this is our previous information being fed into it from Claude, from our Claude desktop. So it's saying, hey, return 5 trends. Name it something else, because I feel like an issue for me before. Remember to publish this trend detector flow. Remember, this is our sub trend detector flow here. Then in the main flow, we need to say, yep, it knows to call tool to get trends, but it doesn't know which workflow to execute. So luckily I've named my flow pretty clearly, a step-by-step setup for the trend detector. Now we publish this main flow as well. So again, after fully closing Claude Desktop, it recognized my published changes. So now we can say call the trend detector agent and always allow that for this chat at least. Nice, so it did call our step-by-step trend detector agent. It just gave us some generic stuff because I didn't tell it what to write about. But yeah, so that part is tested and working. So now I hope you're beginning to see how we're expanding the capabilities of Claude Desktop by adding one AI agent at a time with its own set of tools. So let's continue with the next one, which is going to be to draft social media content. So we're going to repeat the same thing, add a new tool, call an n8n workflow. This one's going to be, we're going to use when asked to create social media content for our business. So let's go ahead and create that workflow. So we have to come back to n8n again. Of course, now I'm creating a bunch of stuff, so I have to start organizing it into folders. Create a new workflow, name it, something that indicates what it is. And for our content drafter, we're also going to copy, the same steps that we had from the last phase. So Claude Desktop is executing an AI agent. And instead of these 2 nodes here, we're going to replace it with a Notion tool. We're going to change this to a database page, and we're going to get a database page. Your credentials will be missing here, so you'll need to create a new credential. It's asking for another secret, which is basically your password for Notion for n8n to be able to use it. So in our sweet no-code automations bundle, which is part of our big bundle on God of Prompt, one of the things we go through there is, hey, to have this context profile, which is just a big note about everything about you in Notion. And the value is that n8n can grab that at any time to inform the AI of what your business is about, and you can provide a ton of information so you don't have to always type it in. So let's say you've stored your context profile here in a database page. So this is it's not just a database, right? It's one page inside of this database. So once we're in here, right, we've opened the page itself, made that full screen. We want to grab this URL. Actually, skip that part, sorry. We don't want to grab the URL. We want to go to the 3 dots here, go to connections. Now, I already have my connection added to n8n, but you'll want to make a new one. To do that, go to manage connections, then go to develop or manage integrations. We're going to make a new one, name it something like that. Click the right workspace that your node is in, hit save, configure settings. You can show the integration secret, which again is your password for this, so treat it like it's sensitive. Then you can paste that into the internal integration secret in Notion. Bam. There we go. We got the green box. Be sure to come back to Notion and to select the new connection that you made. We can add connection here. I named mine delete later. There you go. Hit confirm. Now this page specifically is linked with N8N. So for some reason this is one of the only tools that you have to do this with. You have to link every single page in Notion to N8N. Now we can go to by URL, and we're going to specify the database page once again, not the database as a whole, but once we've clicked into that page, copy that URL, paste it in there, and we can test this out. And we've got all of this this long, if we expand this, our huge context profile here for Ben's Bikes, my fictional company. All right, so that should be linked now. We've gotten the context from Notion. We've given the AI, nothing actually. We gave it a query from the user, but we didn't tell it what type of content we wanted to make, etc. So to do that, we go to add option, and we're gonna add a system message. So we'll add this system message, which is basically you're a social media content creator, yada, yada, yada. Feel free to screenshot that and use that. And you know what? We're doing it for our content drafter. I forgot to put the system prompt in our trend detector agent. Double click that agent, add a system message. Here you go. This is what we're gonna use. I will scroll up and down here so you can screenshot that and throw it in ChatGPT to tell it to extract that text so you can use it as well. So let's test this branch out, hit publish in our content drafter branch, publish in the trend detector. In our main flow here, we still need to add the workflow we just created, which is the content drafter, right? Use when being asked to create social media content. And now the MCP, and therefore our Claude desktop, has the ability to either trigger the weather and calculator agent, the trend detector agent, or the content drafter agent. Make sure to hit publish, restart Claude code. So it gets all of these in its menu, its MCP menu. And just so you can see this part one time in the bottom right, I'm right clicking Claude and hitting quit every time. So now, without us telling Claude Desktop a thing about Ben's Bikes, our really real and profitable business, it's gonna call our N8N instance, grab that from Notion automatically, and then make the social media posts all in one go without our Claude Desktop having to worry about anything. Now we can have our Claude Desktop focus on more of the orchestration and another layer of logic and reasoning on top of what we're already doing in N8N, or what our AI agents are already doing. We can see it's called the content drafter here, and here it's giving me ideas, based on the pricing and offerings that Ben's Bikes has. So there you have it. That's how to build an army of AI agents without writing a single line of code. It's how to combine the two most powerful features in AI right now, MCPs and AI agents. And you can connect these agents and MCPs to any tool. So here, I'm just gonna scroll through a few of them for a bit. There's a bunch of databases, vector stores, any AI you want, ChatGPT, Anthropic, etc. There's ClickUp, right, the project management tool. There's Discord, Dropbox, Google Drive, Slack, Telegram, Gmail, MailChimp, LinkedIn, etc., etc. It goes on and on. So I think you get the point, right? We're extending this MCP server trigger one after another, routing these requests. We're basically using AI agents as tool context abstraction. So again, once you start adding too many tools for the AI to really be able to use meaningfully, or you have a strict pipeline, a set of actions you want to take in N8N, and you want that to be repeatable so you can test it and improve it, then you can route these requests to those workflows. So that's why this is like really really powerful, extensible, all that sort of thing. I skipped out on making the create a campaign brief flow, so I'll show what the finished thing looks like here. Uses the same chat model, same entry point, different prompt, different tools. It has the get database page in Notion to get the context, then uses Perplexity to do some competitor research, and then it creates a database page with your plan, like this, the campaign brief. So I'm gonna go over that setup and template in the bundle just for time's sake, but you should get the idea here. So hopefully you found this video valuable. If you did, be sure to subscribe. I'm going deep on AI agents and automation every single week here. And more importantly, go build something, right? Just start off with this simple flow with just getting the weather and using a calculator. Drop a comment on what you're building. I love to read the comments and help you guys troubleshoot stuff. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.